What is up, everybody? Daniel Rocks once again back with another video. This time around I'm going to show you my top favorites and most hated wrestling games. I have quite a lot of wrestling games, almost 50 wrestling games. I have just about every single wrestling game there is out there. Except a few. And when I mean a few, I mean just like maybe with the WWE games, I'm only missing about 8 games. I'm missing a WCW game. I'm missing a few unlicensed games like Backyard Wrestling and Def Jam, not Def Jam Vendetta, but Def Jam Fight for New York, and a couple of other wrestling games like Rumble Roses, you know, just those type of games I'm missing. And but these two next videos, I'm going to talk about my favorite wrestling games, my least favorite wrestling games. This is my top 10 most hated wrestling games that I have played. These games I fucking hate so bad. These games are terrible. Now, there's lots of bad wrestling games out there. In fact, for every one good wrestling game out there, there's about 3 more bad ones. I don't have, like I said, every single wrestling game out there. I don't have the NES wrestling games. And the NES wrestling games, especially WF WrestleMania and King of the Ring, are really bad. I don't have those, so they won't be on this list. These are 10 games I hate the most that I have. Coming in at number 10 is ECW Hardcore Revolution, which I have on the Sega Dreamcast. This game, it plays a lot like Attitude, plays a lot like Warzone, which is automatically a turnoff because you have to pause the menu, you have to go to the move list, and you have to do the combinations to do a moves. And it's like that for everything. If you want to do a simple body slam, you have to do like up circle or well, in this case up B, or whatever the case may be, and you have to pause the game just to look at the moves. So, and that really kills it, especially if you're playing with a friend. If you're playing with somebody, you have to pause the game because you're not going to know the moves. And even if you have played the game lots of times, you're going to forget the moves because everything's a button combination. So, and it plays a lot like Attitude, you know, with the button combination. Another thing that's not good about this game is it does not have any of the ECW matches. It only has the barbed wire match and a 3-way dance, and that's about it. Hardcore Revolution sucks, but Anarchy Rulz, the sequel, is a little better. Not much better, but a little better. Coming in at number 9 is Smackdown vs. Raw 2009. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, until I see something else in the Smackdown series, this is the worst game of the Smackdown series. This game blows. First off, it took away GM mode, and I loved GM mode. But that's not the end of it. It also took away season mode, which wasn't that great in 2008, but it took away basically what brought it to the big dance. What made the SmackDown series such a damn fine series to begin with was not just because it had the most in-depth roster, but because of its season mode. And instead you have Road to WrestleMania mode, which is nowhere near as good. You have a career mode, which is just a bunch of matches. That might be passable for a Super Nintendo wrestling game, but not a wrestling game that came out, in 2008? This game is bad. It has weird camera angles. It is bad. Bad wrestling game. The worst SmackDown series. The worst game of the SmackDown series. Next up, we have its counterpart, its Legends counterpart at number 8, Legends of WrestleMania. Much like SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, this gameplay is bad. Now, what's also bad about 2009 is it did not have legends. All the legends were ported into this game. And this game is terrible. It does not have Macho Man. It does not have Ricky Steamboat. So you can't do their legendary WrestleMania 3 match. But for whatever reason, it has Hunter Hearst Helmsley. The game modes, it's just bad. And everything's a damn button combination. Everything is a damn quick time events. And it's for everything. It's not just for the game mode. It's for fucking everything. To climb a ladder, you gotta do a quick time event. To throw someone off of a Hell in a Cell, which I don't know why is in this game to begin with, is ridiculous. Everything's a damn quick time event. This game blows. If you want a Legends wrestling game, get Legends of Wrestling 3. Speaking of Legends of Wrestling, while 3 and 2 are really good, its original was bad. Really bad. This is number 7 on my list. Legends of Wrestling is a terrible game. Its physics is terrible. The way they run, the way they walk, it's not how a wrestler walks, not how a wrestler moves. It has a great roster, but that's about it. This game is bad. If you want a good Legends Wrestling game, however, I prefer you to play Legends of Wrestling 3 Showdown. Coming in at number 6 is TNA Impact. Much like the ECW Hardcore Revolution, this does not have any TNA matches. No King of the Mountain, no Lockdown match. The only thing it has is the Ultimate X, and it's boring as shit. It only has 25 superstars on this roster. Its season mode is bad. Its created wrestling mode is bad. Its physics is okay, but it's very, very basic moves, very basic gameplay. Everybody plays the same, and it's boring as fuck. TNA Impact sucks. Coming in at number 5 is WrestleMania 21. This game is one of the very definitions of the word sucked. This is one of the worst wrestling games, period. This game, I can't describe how bad this game is. It's terrible. And what's worse, it came out in 2004. Why would you want to play this when you could play Day of Reckoning? Why would you play this when you can play Smackdown vs. Raw? Xbox wrestling games were bad, but none were worse than WrestleMania 21. I felt so bad for those who had an Xbox and not a PS2 and not a GameCube. Because if you had an Xbox, this was your choice of wrestling game. The only other choice you had was its predecessor, Raw 2, which is fun but lacks substance. This game is your only option for an Xbox wrestling game if you want to do the recent thing. I felt so bad for those guys because I had a PS2. I had a GameCube. Yeah, I had 2 of the 3. How about that? I had Smackdown vs. Raw. I had Day of Reckoning. I didn't play this piece of shit until just recently, and now I know how bad it truly is. If you had an Xbox and this was your choice, I said, wow, I felt so bad for you. Woo. Ooh, doggy. Okay. Coming in at number 4 is not just you put this on the worst list of all time, it makes everything. Not only is this one of the worst wrestling games, it's one of the worst TV shows. It's one of the worst video games based off of the TV show. It's one of the worst PlayStation games, period. And that's the Simpsons Wrestling. I don't know how this is a wrestling game, but since it has wrestling in the title, it counts somehow. This game, there's no wrestling moves. I mean, you could probably do a body slam, but this game is bad. it's not just one of the worst wrestling games. It's one of the worst PlayStation games, period. And it's one of the worst video games, period. You put this up to any worst PlayStation games out there. Bubsy 3D. Oh man, it's right up there. Coming in at number 3 and number 2, because you could really go back and forth with these. They're both equally bad. I can't really decide which game is worse. But coming in at number 3 and number 2 is Nitro and Thunder. These games are horse shit. First off, you have to do the button combination, just like Hardcore Revolution. Except this time around, you don't have, when you pause the game, they don't have the moves list on there. So you are really just pressing buttons, hoping to get something. Everything moves super fast. Everybody moves like they have a stick up their ass. There are no substance. It's all crap. This game introduces a tug of war feature, the lockup feature, and that drains its health bar a lot. And so really all you got to do in Thunder to beat the computer easily is just do the lockup animation. Just do that like a bunch of times. Drains their health. Do a simple body slam. Pin them 1, 2, 3, and it's easy as that. That's how easy this game is. Nitro doesn't have a steel cage. This is a worse version of Thunder, and Thunder sucks in many ways. Feel the power, it says. Yeah, feel the power of me taking a shit, because these games are exactly what they are. Too much for you. Too much for you. Oh, baby. It is definitely too much suck for anybody. Fuck Nitro and Thunder. Those games were terrible. Those were awful WCW games. But no wrestling game out there is worse than WCW Backstage Assault, which I have on the N64. This game is everything that is bad about everything. This is one of the worst, not just one of the worst wrestling games, it's one of the worst games I've ever played, period. This game is bad beyond belief. I mean, Nitro and Thunder are terrible wrestling games. But imagine taking those games and making them suck even more. This is it. Backstage Assault, it's not even fun at all. I mean, at the time, everything was backstage. They went backstage, and that was cool. It had it in Mayhem, but this took away everything. It took away the rings. It took away, you couldn't really do high-risk maneuvers unless you were up top on a backstage area. Even the backstage areas were awful, and they were boring as fuck. You were in a bathroom. You were in a parking lot truck thing. It's just bad. Its backstage areas were not fun, period. Even the ones in Just Bring It were fun. Even the backstage areas in No Mercy was fun. This is no fun at all. Its graphics are terrible. Hulk Hogan looks like a 60-year-old hippie. I'm dead serious. Freaking Ric Flair looks like what would happen if he was melted. If he was like the Wicked Witch of the West, and you poured all the crap load of water on him, and he started melting, that's what it is, because that's what he looks like. He's melting. This game is awful. Anyways, that's my top 10 worst wrestling games. My top 10 wrestling games I hate the most. Now, bear in mind, I don't have every wrestling game. WrestleMania and King of the Ring on NES are pretty terrible games. Backyard Wrestling's also pretty bad, but I don't have those games. Anyways, I'll catch you next time for my top 15 favorite wrestling games. See you next time. Bye.